Now we talked about workbooks and worksheets object. Workbooks returns a workbooks object, which is actually a collection of open workbooks, and worksheets returns a worksheets object, and which is a collection of worksheets within a workbook. In order to create a new workbook, you use the add method, and to open an existing workbook you use the open method, and to close all open workbooks you use the close method. To return the number of open workbooks you use the count property. To create a new worksheet you use the add method. To delete an existing worksheet you use the delete method, and to return the number of worksheets you use the count property. There are different ways to refer to a workbook. You can use a workbook name or the workbook index, or use active workbook object. There are different ways to refer to a worksheet. You can either use the worksheet name or the worksheet index. There are several other ways as mentioned here. All do the same thing. All do the same thing. And similarly, there are different ways to refer to a cell, and all the ways do the same thing. In VB.NET, you need to do some setting up. You need to add the primary interop assemblies for Microsoft Office applications. And later on in your code, insert this line: import Microsoft Office interop Excel. So with the bond calculator, we extend a little bit. So in order to do things that you did in VBA, the first thing is you declare object variables. So you have an object obj Excel declared as application, another obj WB as workbook, another obj WS as worksheet, and another obj course as range. With the load event of the base of my base, you create a new application and assign obj Excel to it. And when the object is disposed, you quit Excel by calling obj Excel.quit, by calling the method quit. So the code here is very similar as what you saw in VBA. You call the add method of the workbooks property of the application object, and assign the object variable objwb to it. Objwb is the workbook object. So you call the save as method of that workbook object and give it code.excelSX. That will save the content of the workbook to this file. And later on you call the add method of the worksheets property of the workbook object. Here you create a new worksheet and give it a name, quotes. and then you look for every items in the list box and save the items to the worksheet. The offset here is offset by a number of rows and a number of columns. And here you offset from the first cell A1 repeatedly, and at the end you close the workbook. For the event handling procedure of the open button, you check if that file code.xlsh exists. If it does, then you open the file by calling the open method of the workbook's property. Here you set the worksheet object to the worksheet quotes and set the range object to the range A1, and then you loop through worksheet quotes in the used region. From row to row, get the content of the rows and add to the items in the list box, and then you close the workbook. If the file does not exist, then you say you display a message saying file not exist.